We're live. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and staying with us through our tiny technical difficulties and glitches. But if hopefully you've been watching us these last couple months, and my name is Liz Thatch, and I'm Pathways Marketing and Fundraising Coordinator, the face behind all our social media, all of our communications, and Pat and I have been doing this, just talking about what it takes to be a foster parent and just that the need is greater than ever right now. And Pat's going to introduce herself. And tonight we also have a special guest with us.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for joining us this evening. And like Liz said, bearing with us as we still work through this Zoom and live process, which is forever changing. Welcome. The past couple of months, we have been doing these information sessions the third Tuesday of each month. Liz and I actually from our own homes, and we've been building a little bit each month on some different subjects. So what's been going on is the first month, we talked about basically what it takes to move forward to be a foster parent. And the second month, we talked a little bit about respite. The third month, we talked about empty nesters. And tonight, we're going to touch a little bit about the home study process. So I'm the first person you come in contact with at Pathway Caring for Children to become a foster parent. You reach out to me. We would have an interview. We talk about what it takes to move forward, and I sign you up for the classes. And then I move you along to my coworker, Megan Garret, and I'm going to let her.
Well, we lost him there for a second, but we're going to stay on here and hopefully they're able to hop back on. Sorry about that if you all are watching, but I can tell you a little bit more. So the latest pre-service began just this past Thursday on September 10th, and it's still via Zoom, all online. You can get through all your training in about 6 weeks, pretty quick. We have several more trainers that are on right now, helping Eric Stuckey, our training manager. And our foster parents are really enjoying it. And you get through the licensing and training process really quickly. And we're back.
Technical difficulties, and here we are.
Yes, so like Pat was saying, she's gonna be the first person that you talk to, and then she either myself or another assessor will get in touch with you. Again, my name is Megan Garret. I'm a licensing assessor. I've been at Pathway since 2013. I was a case manager for 5 years, and I've been a licensing assessor for about 2 years now.
Megan, can you tell us just in its most basic form, what is the home study?
So in a basic form, the home study is like a story about your family. My job is to get all the ups and downs and just make your whole family story on paper. And then we present those to counties, and that's how you get placement.
And so when you are going through pre-service training, when is your home study?
So that's the joy of this program. I know Pat has, tells people you have 18 months to do this process. We don't necessarily want to take up the full 18 months, but that is also an option that you have. So some people prefer to do the pre-service training first and then focus on the paperwork, which is a lot of what I make you do. And then some people want to do it both at the same time, which is completely fine. So what I basically do is I meet with you, particularly in the beginning when you start pre-service training. We do your fingerprints, and then we meet and we go over initial paperwork. We get to know you, like making sure this is the right fit for your family. Just a lot of paperwork and what steps we have to take in order for me to start your home study. So we will go over an autobiography that you'll have to do. And then, once you complete certain steps, then we can start the home study. And the nice thing right now, I don't know when this is going to change, but because of COVID, we have been doing the home studies through Zoom, which, I like being in people's homes. I like getting to know them and getting to hear their kids scream in the background, getting to know that the real family environment that those kids are going to be in. So that's kind of something that I miss. I can still hear it in the background, but it's different. So right now we're doing that. I do have to, me or the other assessor do have to come out to the home to do a safety audit. So that is also something that I would have to do. That is the one thing that in person, as well as fingerprints, that would have to be done in person right now.
Right. So, like you said, you like getting to know the family as is. So tell people, like, don't be nervous. You don't need to clean top to bottom and have a pristine looking home and just
Absolutely
put on
not.
your best self.
No, and we want to see the real you. We know that you're going to be nervous. I always joke with the kids, and I think sometimes the parents get a little mortified. I said, "Did you help mom and dad clean yesterday?" And they're like, "Yeah, we had to stay up really late and help them clean." And I was like, "That's okay, bud." But yeah, you don't have to own your own home. You can rent. You can have an apartment. You don't have to have any, like, you just have to have a stable home. It does need to be clean. But you can be a single parent, you can be married, you can be divorced, you can, whatever. So that's something that a lot of people don't know, is you don't have to have, as long as you have enough space to accommodate children in your home.
Right. So every foster child needs to have their own bed.
Yes. And that is something that they need to have before they get licensed. Not necessarily when I come out to do the safety audit, but it does have to happen before they become licensed. So if you want to have a baby who's ages 0 to 2, you will have to have a crib that is manufactured after June 29th of 2011. So anytime after that is good. But you would have to have a crib purchased and in the home before we could license you.
Oh, good things to know. So, do you talk to everyone in the home?
We do. Anyone, even if it's a household member that they're not even related to, everyone in the home gets talked to. It doesn't have to be in front of the parents that are being licensed. It could be somewhere separate so they don't feel put on the spot. But we do interview them as well, because they're going to be, even if they live in the basement or they live upstairs, they're still going to be a part of that child's life, and it's still going to matter what they think. And, it helps knowing how they view the parent or parents in the home.
Right. Yeah. So, what kind of questions do you ask? Like, say, a 6-year-old daughter.
Well, those are my favorite. Questions like, what is the best part about being in this family? And, the kids will say something really funny, like ice cream sundaes. And the parents are like, no, like, what is a good thing about this family? I'm like, no, that's perfect. That's age appropriate. And then my favorite question is, what's the worst thing about being in this family? And I think the parents go, oh my gosh, what are they going to say? But a lot of it's just like, I got sick after mom got me a Frappuccino, and just so very innocent things like that. And it's just, the kids' imaginations and what they see to be as the worst thing that's happened. Also things like, what's a house rule in your family? How do you know that you're a part of your family? Things like that.
Yeah, those are all great things, especially when you consider bringing on a new child and how they're going to feel about being part of this whole new dynamic. And
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And we do ask them those questions as well. Like, how do you feel about having another brother or sister in the home? What is your role going to be like? If they're going to be, the younger one or the older one, how does that look for them? And we ask the parents, what is the type of conversation that you've had with these children? What is their level of understanding?
So typically, now it's obviously probably changed since we're doing it virtually, but how long would a home study be?
So if it just depends. If people are more talkative, obviously that's going to take longer. Um, Bigger families are going to take longer. I think the longest home I've been in was about 8 hours. And that was a family of, I believe, 7. So that was a lot of interviewing. Now, again, they wanted to get it all done in one day. You do not have to do that option. We're very flexible with your time. If you want to split that up, if you want to do it, 2 hours one day, 2 hours another. And even if you decide you want to do it in one day and you get tired of hearing my voice, or you're like, you know what, I can't sit here any longer, you could just tell me and we'll, reschedule it for another time. Because it is a lot. It's a lot of questions. It's a lot of listening to new things. But right now we're finding that it's going a little bit faster on Zoom. It would still probably take, I would probably say, about maybe 5 to 6 hours to do a family of 7, but we are noticing that it's a little less than what it used to be in person.
Right, right. You're just not seeing the environment, and things aren't necessarily prompting
Right.
questions or things like, or people might feel the need to be brief.
Right.
especially-
And I know a lot of people's, phones have died, or, iPads have died, stuff like that. So, and then kids are in the background, they want food, and they're like, well, let's just get through this quickly. But again, we do take our time on it. We want to make sure we don't get the added factor of being in your home and spending that time with you. So we do like to take that time with you and get to know you, since we miss that connection right now.
For sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you, as the assessor, what support do you offer our foster parents while they're going through training or through just their whole licensing process?
So the support they get is, well, they have Pat. That's the first person that they talk to, and they can always continue to talk to her. They have our training manager, Eric Stuckey, who does a great job at training. There's other trainers as well that they can, I'm sure, can get in touch with. And they also have me as the licensing assessor. So they have different people, different jobs that we do. And even sometimes our intake manager, Sonia, comes in the picture sometimes, depending on the situation.
Right. So they can come to you with all their questions.
Absolutely. Yes, we encourage that, because it's a lot. And, sometimes I even tell people, you're going to get a copy of this because you're not going to remember. It's a lot of information at once. And that's why we're here for questions. We're here, Monday through Friday, and you're always going to have someone available to talk to whenever you need it.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
And I also encourage people, I know before with fostering classes in person, these pre-service foster parents were able to make those connections in class, and that's something that we've kind of had issues with in terms of doing them online. Just encouraging people to make those connections through the Zoom trainings, because it is nice to have that support once you become licensed. And you can never have enough support when you're being a foster parent.
Definitely. Definitely. Always new things, new questions, new challenges, new
Mhm.
things you just need to share or need advice on for sure.
Right. I mean, I still have questions all the time, and I know Pat does, and our other assessor Andy and Kirsten and Eric, and we all have questions all the time because everything is always changing. Mhm.
Yes. So every question is welcome, and it's never the wrong question to ask.
No, there's no stupid questions because anything can happen in foster care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really. So once a family completes their home study, then what can they expect?
So that's the fun part that everyone asks me, and I always have to tell them, well, it depends. I don't know. So we've had people get a child within 1 hour of being placed. We've had people wait a little bit longer. It all depends on, if we're getting referrals that day. And it also depends on a lot on a child checklist that we'll go over. A child checklist just determines what you'd be willing and not willing to consider in a child as far as behaviors, past history, mental health diagnoses, and everything like that. So we encourage people to be as open as possible with that, because that does initially, it makes you more apt to get a phone call if you're more open to more characteristics. So the majority of people are getting a call within at least the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. Which we don't see that slowing down anytime soon.
Nope.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add, Megan? I mean, I feel like that was a really good overview of the home study and just what people can expect.
Yeah, so just overall, I know it can sound overwhelming, but if you want the training, you're doing the training. And like I said, we initially meet, we do fingerprints, go over paperwork, and then you get to decide when you want your home study to be done. Once you get your paperwork into me, if you want to schedule it within the next, week or so, depending on my schedule or the other assessor's schedule, we can get that started and moving. If you want to just turn everything in and wait a little bit, we're very accommodating to what your schedule needs. And especially with school starting, we understand that you have other things going on as well. So just making sure that you don't have to rush. I mean, you can if you want to, and I know people get really excited, but this is going to be on your time. We're asking a lot of you, and it's definitely very much needed, very much so. But that's, once you get that completed, then we go into the home study and we start finalizing things. So that's the biggest piece. But I think that's about it for what's going on in the home study process right now.
That was a lot of really good information, and anyone who's watching can feel free to either drop a comment on this post on Facebook or reach out to Pat. Her contact info is also in the description of this post. But Pat, do you have anything else to add before we
turn the camera? Hello. No, other than a class just started September 10th, which was last Thursday. You're definitely able to jump into this class. That's not a problem. We usually let people jump in till after the third class. We'd be happy to have you. We need people. Now is a great time. Back to school. Most of the kids, at least, right? And take advantage of us still being able to do this remotely from the comfort of your own home. The first training last Thursday, we had 3 staff, and we actually had a foster parent on as a special guest doing a special Q&A, and that went great. So it got rid of a few fears right away. But what Megan was saying is so important. That's one of the first things they want to know when they're talking with me is, what to expect with that process. And I feel really good handing off the people to Megan and Andy and saying, they're going to walk you through this journey. They're going to just, dot their I's, cross their T's, make sure everything is in orderly, and make it as smooth for you as possible. So I'd love to hear from you. My contact information will be in the bottom there, but my number is 330-818-0444. Please give me a call.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone, on your Tuesday evening, and we'll see you again next month. All right.
Bye-bye.